A 3-year mystery in Major League Baseball traced back to Denver.
Denver 7's Colette Bordelon is in our newsroom, and we're talking about stolen gear that baffled teams visiting Coors Field. Colette.
It baffled me too. I spoke with the Sports Illustrated reporter who did the original story. She says we all probably remember when Tom Brady's Super Bowl jerseys were stolen a few years back. But what made this case so tricky? There weren't thousands of people around who could have done it, since it happened in the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. America's pastime.
My jaw kind of dropped.
With a wild story that's out of the park.
Definitely one of the more mysterious questions people in the sport have had to answer recently.
Let's go back to 2020, when cardboard cutouts stole the show as the pandemic took over.
There was no one around.
Stephanie Apstein is the Sports Illustrated reporter who broke this story.
Are you an athlete yourself?
Very poor athlete.
She's been looking into what happened with more than a dozen missing MLB jerseys, 2 pairs of batting gloves, a Giants COVID-19 face mask, and a bag of jelly beans. The only common thread? Coors Field.
How could there be a person sort of breaking the chain? And it turned out that it was a person who was part of the chain.
The San Francisco Giants' diligent clubhouse manager is the first one who Apstein reports noticed the gear had disappeared and called the Rockies, who had to start looking at their staff.
It was hard for them kind of emotionally, I think, for it to be going on. So I think everybody was really relieved when they at least had an answer.
That answer wasn't at Coors Field. It was at the airport.
You want to tell everyone you know, like, can you believe this crazy thing happened? But a lot of the people I know are other journalists, so I don't want to tell all of them because I don't want anybody else to write it.
Apstein says police records showed an employee with a company contracted to work with private charter flights stole the jerseys and such out of bags from teams as they passed through, then sold them to an eBay account.
How much does some of this gear go for?
It's certainly in the 5 figures. One of the jerseys actually found its way back to the player who had worn it, and he signed it. And that jersey went for somewhere not terribly far south of $100,000.
Apstein says now most of the jerseys are sitting in an office at the Denver Police Department. But the mystery of the missing jerseys was solved.
It's got sort of a happy ending in that sense.
Court documents are sealed in the case, but I spoke with a man at the center of this story who says he finished his 2 years of probation today. He says the 1 year of probation originally reported is incorrect. He calls the theft the worst mistake of his life. He's trying to put it behind him. He says he pled guilty to a Class 6 felony in early 2021. Live in the newsroom, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.